Have you ever wondered how a product in China ends up in Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, or any other African country? Today I'm going to show you the whole entire process from finding the right supplier to receiving your goods wherever you are. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica and we are on Building with Jessica. Now subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up so that we can get more engagement, we can get a lot of views and reach out to more people who need this type of content. Now let's go to the step-by-step guide on how this process is done. All right, Building with Jessica. How does shipping from China to Africa really work? This is a step-by-step guide, and at the end of this video I'm going to tell you also the common mistakes beginners make while shipping products from China to Africa so that you don't make the same mistakes. So for a start, you have to identify the product you want to be bringing to Africa. So do market research, find the exact product. For example, if choosing a product, I usually consider a problem-solving product, a product that solves problem we have in Africa. It can be electricity, it can be maybe water. So products that usually solve a certain product usually have high market and demand. I would go to, I would look into that angle if I'm trying to find a product. The next thing, finding a supplier. There are many ways of how you can find a supplier. First of all, there is always some sourcing agents. If you know anyone who is a sourcing agent, you can go through them. Then you can use websites like Made in China or Alibaba. Also, you can try, and if you have like a friend or someone you know who is in China, they can help you in finding for you the supplier for the product you are in need. But you have to verify and make sure those suppliers are not like scammers. You make sure they are legit before working with them. Now, if you find the right supplier and you verify, you need to, you need to ask them for a sample. Okay, ask for a sample before that big order. So like, for example, if you're in need of phones, tell them to send you those phones before, like one phone, check it out, check how it works before you bring in that big order. So always ask for a sample first. The next step is negotiating and ordering. So talking to your supplier, you want to find out their real quotation. Ask them their real price for the goods. Ask them their minimum orders. Ask them the specifications of the certain product you're looking for. So make sure you're really negotiating the best price they can offer, the best ways of shipping your product to you. Talk to them. You're the boss at this point because you're the customer. So don't fear to talk to them before making that order. The next thing you're going to do is going to make a payment. Now, if you're using your sourcing agents, I don't know their forms of payment. If you're using your friends, I don't know the payment you're going to use. It depends on what they will tell you. But when you're using legit websites like Alibaba, always make sure to use trade assurance. Don't pay to a personal account on that app because then you're going to get scammed. Always make sure you use trade assurance on those websites so that you're not scammed. I'll make detailed videos on each step, so you can always come back to my channel and check out the detailed video about each step you see here. The next step, after making a payment, your goods are always forwarded to the freight forwarder. Freight forwarder, it can be someone who is going to give you the required documents, who are going to help you clear the goods in that country, sending them to the country where you are. But for me, I prefer using shipping agents. There is always logistic companies that are already in the process. So you find you can always just pay a logistic company, and then they bring the product to you without you thinking about the documents, the papers needed, the licenses needed, and all that. So just get a logistic company that brings goods, for example, from China to Uganda, from China to Kenya, from China to any African country. That way it makes your work easier. They'll handle the expenses for you. Of course, you will negotiate and find out how much they charge. While talking to them, find out the shipping methods they use and choose the one that works for you. If you use air freight, it's usually expensive, but it's also quicker. And it's good for small products, small packages, because it is expensive, and usually you find they're measuring per kilogram. So that way you find it is expensive. For example, like lately, China to Uganda, you find they are charging you like $15 per kilogram. So as much as air freight is quicker, it is also more expensive. Then you can also choose a sea freight. It may take longer, but it is cheaper, because here we measure the product by per CBM. Then when you choose a product and find a supplier, and you negotiate everything and make a payment and the freight, you send your goods to the shipping agent, and then you choose a method of shipping. Now your products will be brought to your country. When products are brought to your country, they will go through customs clearance. Here is when you need to know how a certain product, its restrictions in a country, because there are some products that are prohibited in certain countries. So you have to also do research. This product that I'm going to ship, is it allowed in my country? If you don't know where to get such information, you can always talk to your logistic companies before you even decide on that product. Okay, so always and carry out research. Some products need licenses, some products are prohibited, some products are highly taxed compared to others. So you have to understand what goes on in the customs, those legislations and all that before you choose and decide on that product. So after your product is brought by air or sea, it is cleared, they pay taxes and all that, and then it is delivered to you finally. So the process is easy as that. Find a product, find a supplier, negotiate everything, pay for your product, then your product will be sent to your shipping agent, to any logistic company, and then choose whether you want to use air or you want to use sea. And then when your product reaches in our country, they are going to do customs clearance, they're going to pay taxes and then allow it in the country, and then it will be delivered unto you. That is how beautiful the process is. That is how short and not complicated the process is. Now that we are familiar with the process, I'm going to tell you the common mistakes beginners make. First of all, we like cheap products. So we always choose the cheapest supplier. That supplier with the cheapest deals, we always choose them. And at the end of the day, they give us crappy items. They give us products that are very, very poor quality because we are choosing them because they are cheaper. The next thing is ignoring the shipping cost. Usually we budget for the product money and we forget to budget for those taxes. We forget to budget for all those costs that are coming. So by the time the products come, you find we don't have money for clearance and all that, which is a very bad thing. The next thing is not requesting samples. Before you make the order, before you make that big order, always ask for a sample. Make sure that the product they are going to bring is the product you need. That's how the sample helps. Then another thing is not understanding customs regulations in your country. This thing has caused a lot of losses and a lot of misunderstanding between logistic companies and customers. It has caused a lot of problems. So get time and look through the custom regulations of each country because they are different. The regulations of Nigeria are different from Uganda, different from Kenya. They are all different. Always look and study which products can easily enter, which products are prohibited, which products are highly taxed, and what can I do about certain products. Always carry out that research. Also, guys, you have a problem of not working with a reliable agency. You go for cheap agents that are not reliable. Always verify. Go to their offices, check them out, carry out research, go on the internet, see if there are reviews about them. See what people are talking about them. Then the last mistake is ordering too much on the first order. You always want to cut the costs and you go in. You go in once. First of all, you have to, if you're bringing in a new product, you have to bring a small part of it. See how it will go. See how people will react to that product before you make that big order. And see how people are going to welcome the product you've chosen for us. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. So that's how shipping from China to Africa is done. It's not a complicated process as we all think it is. It's just simple steps that if you're aware of them, the process is as simple as that. Nothing complicated. So follow my channel again. I'm requesting you subscribe on my channel, click notification. I am planning on making these videos in details so that I can show you the entire process step by step, explaining to you how to get the verified suppliers, how to negotiate, how I'm going to do every step in detail. So check on my page and give me a follow and like my video so that we can get more engagement. Thank you very much today. I am Jessica, building with Jessica. Thank you.